What's up, Pirates? Wraith and Jim back at it again with Awaken TCG. And today we have, as you can tell by the title, we have winners of OP06. So we're going to talk about the 4 leaders that we think really struck gold in this set and have a chance to win tournaments. Um, so those being Gecko Moria, Reiju, Perona, and Yamato. So we're going to go over some of those leaders. We're going to look at some stats, check out some lists, and see why exactly they're winners.
Yep, I think this is the first set out of the last few we've done this that actually has 4 out of the 6 new leaders being playable in the metagame. So really cool that the majority of the new leaders are really, really good. We can actually look at the overall stats here. So this is going to be basically the total decks that appeared on this website, which is One Piece Top Decks. Is not the most accurate website for the best topping decks, but it gives you a kind of good overview of the metagame and just a quick resource to look at if you want like a quick example deck list or just to kind of see how things are ironing out over in the west or east, sorry. But anyway, we have here Yamato with 24 wins, which is really good. This definitely is a leader that won a lot. I think it won like the first championship in the first tournament they did. And then next up here, Gecko Moria with a lot more. It actually has the most tops out of this entire list at 63. So a really, really good leader. Black is really good, and Gecko Moria obviously is good, as well. And also right here we have Reiju with 15 wins. A lot less than Moria and Yamato, but still good. 15 is basically a leader that's going to win maybe 1 out of 10 events or so. But still good and definitely competitively viable if you know how to play it. And then last but not least here, we have Perona at 13 wins, kind of right under Reiju. I think this one also suffers, though, just from not as many people playing it. I don't think it's as popular as Reiju or any of the other 2 leaders we're talking about. So if you really do want to play Perona, it is a great meta deck that you can definitely pull out some wins with. So let's just go ahead and get into the lists here. First up here, we've got Moria. This is going to be, not going to try to pronounce that name, but this won a championship or a treasure cup, not sure, but we are using right here firefist.gg. Only has the best of the best lists from championship series and not treasure cups, but flagships, yep, which are big tournaments over in the East that basically if you win, you know your leader and list is good. So this is certified very strong. We've got obviously the 4 of new 8-drop Moria. You've got your usual Thriller Bark Pirates that we're going to add in here. Kuzans, which probably are just good to play off 8-cost Moria with the Borsalinos as well. And just your usual black stuff. If you've seen a Sakazuki deck from OP05, it's kind of got the same package. Rebecca, Lucci, Hina, Great Eruption, few Ice Ages, you know the deal.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is a basic list. One Rebecca as a tech, because honestly speaking, Moria this deck does not need Rebecca's. But I like that one of tech there. But yeah, this is a more of a standard list. This deck has so many different options. It's just, this leader is just so good. If we're talking about power level, it's probably more consistent than Sakazuki. So I'm interested as to why it never won a big CS. I don't believe it won a big CS a championship series tournament in Japan, but it had more tops overall than Sakazuki. Which is very interesting. Like you would expect a deck that's just as consistent as Sakazuki to take one, but it actually never did. And so I'm interested to see over here in the West if we can change that up. But yeah, this deck is insane.
Insane deck, but kind of similar to Sakazuki right now in OP05. I don't know if it's won a North American big tournament over here, but you look at any like top 16 and it's probably a little over the majority, but just never really manages to be first. I think this is in the same realm. But I still argue probably top 1 or top 2. So, And next up here, we've got green and yellow Yamato, the first winner of ACS in OP06. We actually covered it on the channel way back when, but going to have a kind of Wano list here. We've got the Momonosuke Searcher that can search out our 2Ks like Hiyori, our new fantastic cards like Kikunojo. good blocker like Kozuki Momonosuke, and more 2Ks like Izo here. And then we just have a few of our cards that just make this deck a lot better, like the Charlotte Cracker. Having 2 double attack killers on board is pretty much impossible to play around, and definitely a big problem. And then we have also the Horty Jones right here, which is absolutely insane and definitely the best finisher in this deck by far.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this deck is so fast paced. There's definitely a good variety of kinds of decks that you can make with this Yamato list. So like at the beginning, it was, very rush oriented. Then there was some fortress decks, and this one's kind of like more of a middle ground, where you have different options, um, and a Momo searcher. But yeah, overall, this deck, just having that double attack on your Yamato makes it so threatening at all times. Like you can be at 2 life, but if they're at 10 Dawn, it's scary for you. Like you can, if you're forced to take a double attack and then they Hody Jones or something, it's not looking too good for you. But yeah, this deck is fast paced, very strong, has a lot of different tools that make it successful. And just having that double leader ability is so good. That double attack as its first ability, and then having to be able, the ability to give 2 rested on to a character just makes it that much more aggro. And so yeah, we're gonna see a lot of this deck, and probably gonna have some wins on it for sure.
Yeah, I'd say going into the OP06, like right at the start of the meta, this is probably going to be kind of similar to NL, which is you're going to have to learn how to play against this leader. It's definitely going to be a bit of a learning curve, and maybe going to be a little bit less of a problem as OP06 kind of pans out. And next up here, we've got Perona. Perona is a very interesting leader, as most people are choosing to play these baby 5 searchers along with the Don Quixote Pirates package, which we have this 10-drop Dofi, even the 8-drop Rocinante, which you don't always see in these lists. Also the Block Rocinante as well. And also we run brand new searchers, so a double searcher package in here that searches Navy and the Don Quixote Pirates, which is really good. Usually we actually see the Virgo 2K in here, which both of these cards can search. This one not choosing to run it, and instead just choosing to run the Tashigi and Suru. But obviously this list is still running 8-cost Moria. This card is just incredible, especially in this deck when you could play cards like Ryuma, which Sakazuki and Moria do not have the luxury of playing. So it definitely has its own strengths, and if you like green, I think this is going to be the leader for you this set.
Yeah, 100%. Like being able to go Moria, play a 4-drop, and even like throw in that Don Quixote Rosinante 2-drop blocker is insane, right? Gives you so much defensive, just such a defensive turn. This deck has, the Perona effect to fall back on. Just to have combos. It's just such a good, well-rounded deck. But the issue was in the East was not many people played it, and then it started winning, and then towards the end it started picking up traction. But I feel like there's a lot more people over here in the West interested in this deck, so I feel like we're gonna see this a lot more.
Yep, looking forward to it. Definitely one of the coolest decks coming out in OP06. And last up here, we've got Reiju. Reiju, really interesting leader. Probably the most combo heavy leader we've ever seen. You need to draw your pieces. There's a lot of these little ones that turn into big ones, so you need to draw both. And preferably have the big ones in your trash. You can actually play them from hand or trash, but you would prefer to play them from trash. And then we have the big Vinsmoke Judge here, which I think most of these decks run at like 2, maybe 3. You do not want to see it too often, but when you get this guy out, you can go full Power Rangers suit up with your 4 cost, your 3 cost. Even some of them run this blocker. This one actually choosing to run the Yonji blocker. But looks like a really fun deck. Like honestly, I'm probably not going to main this deck, but I'm just going to make it because it's going to be pretty cheap, and I think it's just going to be really fun to pilot. So really good deck and really fun deck at that.
Yeah, 100%. Like you said, very combo heavy, probably the most combo heavy, up there with Moria, just on what it's allowed to do. But you have to have your combo pieces. If not, it can get rough. But if you do see those pieces, you feel like you're playing on a different playing field. It feels so smooth. you're constantly doing things that your opponent is like, whoa, like wait, what did you do? It's definitely a deck you're gonna have to get used to playing against. It is so good. Um, I've been actually testing this deck and I've been enjoying it. And as much as I would want to main this deck, um, I'm gonna stick to something that's probably in that top two range, just because I really want to go all in for OP06 and see if I can replicate my performance that I had in OP04. But I'm definitely like Jim said, I'm gonna make this deck, but probably won't main it. I'll just have like a side pet deck if I ever do side events or want to uh, test matchups for other people. I can play this deck and stuff like that. But still a really solid tier 2 deck. And if it didn't have such a bad matchup into like something like Yamato, this would probably even be into tier 1. But that Yamato matchup is so rough. All right, Pirates, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. We just went over the winners of OP06. Luckily, there are 4 leaders that are super, super good in OP06. So, going forward, making decks, you're going to have cheaper options and cheaper alternatives to be able to make some of these top tier decks, especially some of these Yamato decks, and as well as Reiju decks. I think they're going to be very cost effective. So, while OP05 was the absolute worst time to get into this game, I think moving forward into OP06 is going to be a great time to start getting into it, because now you're able to make decks that are going to be able to place while still being very cost effective. So I think this set is going to do wonders for our competitive scene and just for any One Piece card game fans in general. But with that being said, this is the end of this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to our channel. We're giving away 5 OP06 boxes at 5,000 subscribers, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.